Here's all.
Thanks for building that up, Roman. So thanks, Roman. Yeah, we had a good year this year on the Inshore boats. Just an overview of the talk first. We'll do a quick recap on what we achieved in 2018 and what our target was going to be then for 2019. We'll have a look at the distribution of survey legs, some results on the bathymetry, some of the regs we mapped, how we go planning these surveys, because it's getting quite complex now in the inshore environment, and some interesting training exercises we did with some of the other organisations. So, at the end of 2018, this is where we left off. The blue areas are what's already been mapped by GSI and AMI by the end of 2018. Red is what we mapped with the inshore fleet. And the black boundary is the GSI's outer limit. So we map out to 30 nautical miles or to the edge of the EEZ if it comes within 30 nautical miles. So red is where we were at in 2018. So the target for 2019 was this green area, just off the south coast there of Kinsale and Baltimore, and also the inshore. So if we zoom in on that, you can see from more or less Kinsale to Roaring Water Bay, this pink area was our target area for mapping this year. And as you'll see, it had to be a bit flexible because of changing weather patterns and availability of ports, so we had to move around and colour outside the lines a bit from time to time. So some of you are already familiar with these. This is the inshore fleet. We've got Geo, which is our smallest vessel, maps right into 0 meters and sometimes beyond. That's zero chart data. You've got the Kiri and the Mallet, which are the two larger vessels which can map the deeper water and sometimes the shallower as well. And you've got the Lear, which is the 11-meter rib, which basically can do everything. It can map the shallow water and map out to 30 nautical miles because of the particular license that it has. So it's a very versatile boat. And we'll be getting a second one of those next year because it's just that useful to have as part of the fleet. There's just an overhead shot of the inshore fleet in Baltimore. I know the first reaction the managers are going to say is, it's really calm. Why aren't you tied up? So I just want to get ahead of that. It's not right. And I don't have an answer for you. I can't remember. So I'm sure it was really good. So you got the Geo on the left, then the Lear, then the Kiri, and then the Mallet, making a nice little tailoring kind of shape there. This is the kind of division of labour between the various boats, just to explain why we need different boats of different sizes. So you've got the Marine Institute's Celtic Voyager is mapping from 30 nautical miles out. So they're doing what we're calling shelf mapping. At 30 nautical miles, RV Mallet takes over and does the deepest, most offshore sections of the GSI area. Then you've got the RV Kiri, which can map out to 20 miles. You've got the RV Lear, which more or less it can map anywhere, but we just slot it there between the Kiri and then the Geo, which maps in the most difficult and dangerous areas right up to 0 meters and often beyond. And so that just shows the kind of the approach you have to different water depths. And as I said, the Lear can also go out here, and next year we'll have 2 of them, so that'll really increase our capabilities in the offshore area. And the Kiri can also map where the Geo goes, because it's just that maneuverable, that versatile boat that you can go right into 0 meters as well. So this is the distribution of different survey legs. For 2019, we had 21 survey legs, which is a lot more than usual, so data management was a big deal this year. That shows the distribution of legs offshore, which you can see is made out of the Lear, the Kiri, and the Mallet. And then the distribution of survey legs inshore between Kinsale and Dunmanus Bay. You can see it's composed of various survey legs by the Lear and the Geo. And by survey leg, we mean you only have so much disk space on the computers. So you survey maybe for a month's worth of data, and then you have to swap out all the disks and all the imagery, and you start another package of survey work. Okay? Back in the day, it was very easy. A survey leg might have been Galway Bay, and then Cork Harbour, and then Killary Harbour. They were easily dividable up, but now we do it by disk space and various other factors like access to different ports. So that's an overview of the bathymetry collected this year. So we knocked down to about 130 or 135 meters depth offshore, and probably beyond 0 meters at AT inshore. The first scale isn't quite up that there. You can see it doesn't quite match the shape of our original polygon plan, and that's the nature of inshore mapping. Once you get out there, best laid plans and all that. It's always different with tidal patterns and currents and weather. You really have to go where the weather allows you at different times. And that's the bathymetry inshore. So it's quite a zoomed out view because I have to include some of the bathymetry over towards Kinsale. But as you can see, we were going to stop at Skull, and we ended up mapping as far as Dunmanus Bay because it's such a sheltered bay and we had southerly winds. So it turned out that the Lear could nip over there now and again and map when other vessels couldn't. Pretty much arrived at being able to produce a real map of Baltimore now. So that's just the Irish DTM digital terrain model for the onshore with the bathymetry draped over the offshore. So it makes quite a nice and complete map now. Thanks really to the Geo and the Lear, which get right into the shallows. And actually, sorry, I skipped one thing. Our target this year was 3,390 kilometers squared, and we achieved 3,562. So we did exceed our targets, even though we didn't fill that original target because the Kiri and the Lear mapped beyond the bounds in other areas. And the Kiri also did some work in the Northern Irish Sea, and the Geo also did a bit of work around Kilmore Quay, and the Lear also worked in Youghal. So there were some additional areas that we picked up that increased our coverage. So that's a zoomed out view of the current state of play with bathymetry around Baltimore, Cape Clear and Sharpen. So it's quite complete. You can see that the smaller vessels got right in towards the intertidal areas, and that's merged with the MI's coverage from the Celtic Voyager. So it really makes quite a nice complete picture at this stage. Maybe we can throw in a real map of Sharpen. It's always nice when you map an island, because normally you're in a bay and you're mapping outwards and it feels kind of open-ended, unless there's already coverage offshore that you can join up with. When you map an island, you really complete the map because you're working in towards dry land, and it's quite satisfying. And the Geo gets to do all the really interesting stuff, like driving in towards intertidal areas, which is fairly tense. Roaring Water Bay, I think Jeremy Irons' castle is somewhere, if I remember correctly. We actually have photos of Geomapping around the base of his castle, so we must get in touch with him because he's a keen seafarer, and I think he might like a few maps. Maybe a sponsor us on his own, yeah. So the Geo and the Lear did some terrific work, getting right into the 0 meter contour where they could. It's not always possible. You can see this sandbank here. It took the Geo 2 or 3 days just to map that, and around Horse Island. So they got a really complete job done with the shallows in there. And Roaring Water Bay is an important area for shellfish aquaculture and so forth. So this is going to be a really nice and useful bit of data for years to come. A bit more on the challenging inshore work. So it's a bit of a psychedelic one, this, but it is your usual bathymetric chart, going from warmer colours for shallow to colder colours for deep. So just a very complex area of inlets and channels, huge tidal streams. This one in particular, that's actually quite an achievement, because for most of the summer this wasn't mapped. It's mostly an intertidal area with some, not well marked channels or areas through. But the Geo with Mark Kelly and Dan Conran, big shout out to those guys, managed to shadow a local vessel as it took a shortcut through, because the locals really they're the real bathymetry. They know every single rock, and so we were able to map. Or they were able to map a nice little transit through that area, so it wouldn't have been possible unless you could follow another vessel. Moving on, Lochine. Lochine's a really interesting spot, very important for biodiversity. Couldn't map it this year, there's a lot of permissions and things like that we need to get, but the Geo mapped in as close as it could to the approaches. And another little funny anecdote, but I think it's funny. This channel here could not have been mapped, except the skipper, Paddy Griffin, happened the night before to be snorkeling there and swam through it and could see that it was safe. Otherwise you couldn't map it, because you'd be driving straight over uncharted territory. And even though we have the old charts, there's often shallow rocks that just aren't marked. They couldn't capture any rock back in the day. So if we look at it in 3D, it's quite an impressive ravine. That's not vertically exaggerated, that's the actual relief. A little bit of noise there making a fake cliff, but in general, that's what it looks like. So he just swam through here and then realised, oh, this is actually quite safe. So he took the Geo through the next day and got a very nice bit of data. And that's the approaches into Lochine there in the background. So on towards the wrecks, U260, just southeast of Castle Townsend, if I've got that right. Very famous U-boat, very popular wreck diving. So the Lear did a resurvey of it this year. Got a very nice crisp image where you can see it with the propeller shafts and so forth. So a nice new bit of data on that. Mallet just picking up wrecks left, right, and centre in the offshore area. We won't even go into the details of some of them because they're still being worked up, and some may have to be passed on by the National Monument Service to have a look at that first. But lots of wrecks in the offshore area. Some already charted, some uncharted, and maybe some charted but in the wrong position. So that's often the case when you're in the offshore area. And as usual, if you've got a wreck in deep water and it's over 100 metres in length, it's very likely to be a wartime wreck, because there's very few reasons out there to get some besides getting torpedoed. And this is a really nice image of it's actually I think it's the largest wreck in the world by tonnage, definitely the largest in Europe. It's the Kowloon Bridge. So it's a cargo ship that ran aground in the 80s on the Stag Rocks just east of Baltimore. So the Geo mapped that. It's been mapped before, but not at very high resolution. So the Geo captured this just a few weeks ago. So it's just a brilliant image, and you can see the framework of the vessel and metal plates and bits of hull scattered around the place. And I think the guys did compare it with previous imaging, and you can see where it's even been modified further by storms and picked up further bits of damage. Also, just a kind of a grim reminder of why one of the reasons we're doing this is for this kind of safety of navigation and of things. Unfortunately, I think the Kowloon Bridge, even with the best charts in the world, was probably fated to have this happen to her, because she broke her anchor and had some damage from the storm. And the RAF evacuated the crew off, and they left the engines in reverse so that she'd reverse away from the coast, but she still ended up going up in the rocks. And while she was a cargo ship, she was carrying about 2,000 tons of oil, so there was quite a spillage and pollution back in the day. Then, as Kuhn mentioned, the Manchester Merchant, which is not far from us here, down in inner Dingle Bay. So the Keely got this very nice high-res image of her recently. And another interesting story, sank in 1903, I think. As you said, the cotton and the turpentine caught fire on board. And they did their best, and they tried to find shelter. Thankfully, no loss of life. And she eventually sank there behind Inch Beach. Quite a big wreck in quite shallow water. So just a little bit, okay for time, a little bit on the planning, because it's, we have to have all this finished by 2026, and we're looking at all these complex bays and stretches of coastline with different water depths. All the sonars behave differently depending on depth of vessels, but achieve different coverage depending on conditions. How can you predict if we'll get this done or not, how long each section will take? So the guys in the MI did some good work with Therese on GSI, converting digital Admiralty charts into polygons by depth. So this, at the beginning of the year, was what was left to map off Roaring Water Bay and Mizen Head. The brown is the land, and any of the coloured polygons are just areas of seabed that are to be mapped, colour-coded by depth bands. So yellow is the area from 0 to 2 metres, red, 15 to 20, blue offshore, 100 and 200 metres. And you can put this into GIS, and you can measure the area of each depth band remaining. And I'm sorry about this slide. But basically, we can pop this into an Excel spreadsheet where we take into account the average depth, the draft of the sonar, the average swath width of the multi-beam, which depends on the angles we put the beams in and out at, the speed of the vessel, how much coverage it will get with each survey line, your average coverage per day, and you can work out how long it should take mathematically to map each of these areas. And then you take that and you shred it, because real life will kick in. You try and come up with a percentage of how much downtime you'll have due to weather, equipment breakages. And in the end, you'll get some sort of a figure that will reflect how long it'll take to map the whole country. And you end up with something like this. So you can vaguely see the shape of Ireland there. We've adopted the MI's system of having these survey grids. Each one is 1,000 square kilometres. And using the previous spreadsheet, we can pop into each one how many ship days it will take to map it. And then we were able to box off each area by year. So 2018, we've had this done, 2019, and at the end of 2019, we're slightly ahead of the game, which we absolutely have to be, because some year we won't be. There'll just be a very bad year of weather. Or we'll get a rude awakening that this is a very crude attempt using maths to predict how long it will take. Nature usually is waiting around the corner to slap you in the face when you think you can do that. But so far, so good. Talking about some of the interesting exercises we did with other organisations, So before he turned up today in a suit, Ronan was actually a hardened criminal running drugs to the south coast of Ireland. That's a joke, there wasn't much laughing.
They believed you.
There was kind of a nervous chuckle on my Ronan was posing as a hardened criminal, and the Navy crew from the Ellie Bernard Shaw boarded the Kerry as a boarding action. The Taoiseach was on board, and I don't know if you can see him there. They did a great exercise with the Navy where they went on board and they role played the whole scenario, and that all went very well. Bernard Shaw would be very sinister there in the sunset. I'm sure the Kerry looked equally sinister to the Bernard Shaw. Some nice Coast Guard exercises as well. This is the Coast Guard helicopter boarding Kerry. So 2 winchman came aboard, and that was always very technical exercise involving boats. So obviously the Coast Guard helicopter know what they're doing. The skippers and the vessels really have to know what they're at as well, because you've got people boarding you from a helicopter. You have to be careful that the speed is matching and that you're on the right heading, the vessel isn't rolling too much, all this kind of stuff. And on the Mallet as well, we had a boarding exercise from the Inshore lifeboat, and we did a side tow or a beam tow with the Baltimore lifeboat. So we ended up seeing the Mallet, simulated a breakdown, and the lifeboat towed us back into port. So really amazing to be part of that, just to see how well trained these guys are and how everything just works so smoothly like clockwork. And just as always, you gotta say a big shout out to the RV Geo, which regularly puts itself in this position. And this is normal. That's them mapping that last little bit of water under a sea stack or a cave or God knows where, but it's just a great shot. And the Lear has been doing similar stuff to that as well. And finally, big thanks to the Motley crew that made it all happen. Thanks.